Hello everyone, this is Bentley, and today we're going to be talking about something that Fluval sent me. Not this app, they sent that to me a while ago, but I do like it. And that is their new BioFX media. Let me grab the box. This stuff, they sent me this big old box. 5 liters worth of their new media. And this is meant for kind of heavier fish loads. So things like your FX6s, your FX4s, the 4.0 or 3.0, etc., canister filter series. This is really where Fluval's intending for this stuff to be used. So let's talk a little about this. And this is kind of a first impression. There we go. The camera's getting all fuzzy. So if we were to open the box up, it's a heavy box, but it's 5 liters in these boxes. And some disclosures while I do this. Fluval did send me this product. I'm not being asked to send it back. I'm being allowed to keep it. However, they're not paying me for this video. So while they did supply this for me to do some testing and provide them some feedback, they'll get feedback at the same time you guys do with this video. They don't hear anything ahead of time. None of that usual stuff. So it's not sponsored, but stuff is being provided by Fluval. So sponsored, not sponsored, I don't know. You call it how you will. However, we're going to do some testing on this stuff. So inside, you get a nice huge nylon bag if you need it. Or mesh bag. It might not be actually nylon, but nice mesh bag. And not very coarse, kind of a finer mesh, which is actually kind of about the right way I like my mesh bags. Personally, when I buy them for myself, I buy them in bulk to use in a lot of my filters. And then you get this, one giant bag of media. Let's open this up and look at the media itself. Now, granted, we've got pictures here, of course, on the box to show. Get that in focus there. To show what the media is like. It's a kind of pelletized media. Give me a sec, let me open this, and we'll talk a little further. So here we go. Here's one piece of the media, and I'm going to bring it up close so the camera can focus. You can see it's got fairly large pores. And that's nice. But if we look at the other side, it's not universal, so this is definitely a part of the process of how they're making it. But we've got good pores of this ceramic media. I was curious if they would say if it was made of anything specific. Like if they say it's made of pumice or something like that. But they don't. So, this is designed... Now, the cool thing about some of this, these 5-liter boxes are basically designed to fill the 3 internal portions of a tray of an FX6. Now, of course, if you're doing something like the 06, 07, etc. canisters, so like the 4.0s, the 3.0s, whatever, that canister series, depending on whether you have the newest one or some older ones, you're going to have way more media than you need for that. But if you are going all the way to the FX6, one box of this will fill all 3 trays. That's basically how they've designed this to happen, which is pretty awesome, and should do the same in the FX4 as well. So, how does this compare to something that I love to rant and rave about? Brightwater Series S. Right, so I've used the Series S and the S Mini. You guys know that I love this stuff. The big thing that I love about this, 1, it's very dense. 2, because of the way that it's designed, it's basically dust-free. You really don't need to rinse this media. You could basically just pull it out of the box, put it in a filter bag if you're going to use a filter bag, or put it directly into a tray, put it in your filter, and get it going. And you get almost nothing in your water. Now, of course, we always want to rinse our media, but we should do some testing to see just how dusty this particular media is. Okay. Similar to what we've done in the past, I'm going to pour out this media into this box top here, and we're just going to get a rough idea of how much dust comes out of it naturally. Basically, how much we need to rinse off before we can use this stuff. good little puff of dust came out of that bag, and there's plenty more in there. Just going to throw this to the side, and real quickly... Now, hopefully you can see the amount of dust we have in here. I'll show some footage that shows you the difference with the bright water, but just keep in mind that this is about 2.5 times as much media as comes in one box of the bright water. So we need to keep that in mind. Overall, I would say this is a lot dusty, or a lot more dust than the bright water, but less than a lot of other medias I've seen with your standard, like, ceramic ring. So there you go. There's a look at how dusty the stuff is. Now, does that matter all that much? Not necessarily. When we go and we rinse our media out, we shouldn't see any problems. So, okay. But I mean, how are we testing this stuff? We're going to slap it in a filter. I have a spare FX6. It's going to go on the retirement tank here behind me. And while this tank doesn't have a huge bioload and already has one FX6 doing a majority of the work on it, plus a little 350B hang on the back, we're basically just seeing, once we rinse this media out, get in a fresh filter, get that filter running, do we see any extra dust come out of it that we couldn't get in a simple rinse? And when water starts flowing through it continuously, we start seeing some kind of particulate matter. Do we see any noticeable change in overall water quality? Does it give me some significantly better bacterial colony than the standard, like, ceramic rings I have running? Yes, it's an extra filter. Totally understand that. But because there's not a huge bioload in this tank, it's not doing a ton. And what we're really going to end up testing is, after about a month, we can then go and do some disassembly. Might run it a little bit longer, to be honest. Open that canister back up and look at how well populated the media is. I know this is going to sound weird, but basically, you can look at your ceramic media and look at its coloration when it's a white kind of ceramic, or those white pumices like your Seachem Matrix. And you can kind of tell by the light tan color how well populated it is with beneficial bacteria. Now, you might need to do some light rinsing to make sure detritus is off of it. Just use some old aquarium water in a bucket, something like that. But we could rinse out a single tray of this media and get a really good idea very quickly of how well populated the media is with beneficial bacteria. This is a super simple test, a lot like what we're doing with the sponge filters and our air pumps over that way in the 29 gallon in the same room. We're just going to kind of see, we slap this in a filter, do we see any marked performance? You know, filter media is all very similar. It kind of comes down to some personal preferences. This stuff, it's got some really nice pore structure to it, which means it should house a lot of beneficial bacteria. I mean, again, we'll put it up here so you get the close shot, but you can see the type of design they're after. And when I put that pellet right in your face, like, it has some pretty deep pore structure. So it should have lots of surface area. And that means the more widely available surface area, the more beneficial bacteria it can, in theory, house. When you have very fine pores, it's easier for that media to get clogged up. Fluval does recommend that you change some of the media once every 6 months. You probably don't need to really change it, as long as you're doing some monthly or every other month maintenance where you're just lightly rinsing it in tank water to get any extra detritus off of the media. But inevitably, all ceramic media can clog up. That's part of why I like the bright water, is that it has some good pores, but its just raw structure is really well designed to last you a long time. And bright water specifically suggests changing part of your media once a year. So that gives you some small differences. Most of this is something you can ignore. You can probably just run your media the entire time, and as long as you're doing reasonable maintenance on your aquariums, you don't have to worry about it. So your sponges are going to do most of the work picking up all your detritus and your gunk, but you will have some microparticles that get through, and over time that builds up. So that's why we do that maintenance. We rinse out that media just to be safe, just to make sure it's okay. Typically we do this in old aquarium water because we don't want chlorine wiping out your bacterial colony. When you clean your sponges, this and the Fluval and that kind of ceramic media, that's what's keeping your cycle. That's what's keeping all your beneficial bacteria nice and safe. So we usually don't rinse all of it at once because that can become detrimental. But I just wanted to do a short little peek at this new media, tell you how I'm testing it. I'm going to slap it all in FX6, put it in this thing. Yeah, I have a spare FX6 lying around. Rough life, right? But we're just going to see how that runs for a little bit. I've had bright water specifically in a bunch of my filters. It's in my Oase filter on the 75 long. It's in the FX6 that powers the Guppy Mansion. It's also in a few of my hang-on back filters in a couple of different tanks that are in the warm room, like the Running River tank, for example. So I'm very familiar with this stuff compared to a standard ceramic ring and kind of what I get out of it when I'm doing some maintenance, when I'm doing some service, what I expect to see. So that can give me a rough background on a comparison with this new Fluval stuff. So with that being said, that's our test. It's going to be a few months, but I thought I'd just show you. It's a new product. Just as a heads up, Fluval does advertise this box, which this particular box here, the 5-liter box, is normal retails $42.99 US on Amazon. Right now, as of the time of filming this video, it's on sale. It's like 17 or 16% off. You can get it for $35.99, so you can save a few bucks if you're interested in need some new media and want a big old heavy box of it. And like I said, that lines up pretty well with the bright water because this is about 2.5 of these is similar to how much you're getting in here. Maybe 3 if you want to play it perfectly safe. But if you do your math, about 3 of these costs about the same as this. So the question just becomes, what's your preference? Fluval has specifically had this design to work with their canister filters, and one box, like I said, fills all 3 trays of your FX6 or FX4. So it's pretty good like that, where you just buy one box, you get a nicer media to put in there as opposed to whatever comes with it, on top of all your natural sponges, and you're good to go. It kind of supercharges that big canister filter, so to speak. Now, if you're doing something like a sump, this is still a lot of media. I mean, it's 5 liters. This is you see, compared to my head, this is a big box, right? They're not skimping on the amount they give you, and for the price, it's not terrible. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some fanboys out there about BioHome Ultimate. Haven't tested that stuff yet. Don't worry, we're getting to that eventually. And we're not going to do any like super crazy robust testing yet on this stuff. But Fluval did send me 2 boxes of this, so I'm going to use 1 box now, and I'm going to save another box for a little bit later, and we'll do some more thorough testing in the future. With that being said, let me know if you enjoyed this video. It's short, sweet, some real basic stuff. It's nothing too crazy, but just letting you know that there's quite a number of us, fish tube influencers, whatever the heck you want to call us, that were reached out to by Fluval. We all got this stuff, so you might see a few of these videos coming out here and there. This is just my particular one and what I'm going to do, which is some serious long-term testing. I'm just going to strap it into a device and let it do its thing for a while and just kind of see what I see. I'll do some other tests too, probably in the future, just to get a feel for it and what this media can do compared to the other media that I've used in the past. That's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching, and stay awesome.